You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Serious about business.
We're here in the little seacoast town of Onoto Bay in the parish of St. Mary for the Ministry of Tourism's official opening of Markingstone Beach. Business Access TV brings you highlights from Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett and other stakeholders. Stay with us.
We have recognized, and the Minister has instructed us to ensure that we are rehabilitating and developing beaches across Jamaica to ensure that there are enough public beaches for our people to, I know sometimes they call us dryland tourists, but for us to enjoy the benefits of this beautiful country. Today is a continuation of openings of various tourism developments across St. Mary, and the minister and his entourage have been just coming from Rio Nuevo village, which is quite impressive, and I overheard the minister saying how impressed he was with it. And so it's a message to St. Mary to say, listen, tourism recognizes you and we are here facilitating the development. Now, tourism is one of those industries where it requires partnerships. And so no matter how much we do from the ministry, it requires partnerships with stakeholders, partnerships with municipalities, partnerships with the people to ensure that the standards are maintained and are as high as possible. And we build on the legacy that we have here in Jamaica as one of the best destinations in the world.
Well, this transformation here at Markingstone is one of many that we're doing across the island. You see, tourism is changing quite a bit with the advent of technology that opens up an opportunity for the average Jamaican to actually benefit from tourism. It's not only a case where they need to work inside a hotel or to supply a hotel, they can also benefit from renting out their space. Because Jamaica, thankfully, we've been blessed where anywhere you go in Jamaica, you can find a beach or a river or a waterfall or a mountain. You can have some great experience, and with the natural weather and our natural hospitable culture and so on, we end up pretty much having an industry, a resource that's available to every Jamaican to become a tourism entrepreneur. So how that is enhanced is if all the beaches that are dotted across the island are then developed so that restroom facilities are in place. So one, the environment is protected, but we demonstrate respect and provide that convenience to anybody who uses the beach and so on. So, you know, seating areas, parking spaces, security, lifeguards and so on. And that's what we've done here, and we are doing across Jamaica to open up Jamaica more. It's not only on the north coast, or it's all over Jamaica. We want to make it a case where tourists and the diaspora and Jamaicans are enjoying what we've been blessed with naturally. So that is the purpose of investing in beaches like the Markingstone Beach and getting the result that we have today.
I have visited this facility. I passed by here just the other day before the work was complete, but on entering the gate I was wondering, am I really at Markingstone Beach? And that is a testimony to the work that has been done here. I noticed I saw some persons out there enjoying the facility already, so it is a good sign. We are eternally grateful to the Tourism Enhancement Fund for spending, I won't mention the figure, maybe the minister will do that later, but significant funds on this facility. And as I said, it looks like a first-class beach. Those of us who know Markingstone before would understand why I am so excited based on what I have seen. The St. Mary Municipal Corporation has owned this facility for a long time. Although, Minister, this is one of the properties that is everybody knows belongs to the St. Mary Municipal Corporation. However, it is in the name of Commissioner of Lands. We have interviewed interested parties in terms of leasing this facility because we don't have the capability to run such a facility. So we have interviewed persons, we have sent to the Ministry of Local Government for them to approve so that we can have somebody run the facility and run it properly as to how it should be.
What does growth in tourism mean for Onoto Bay?
Well, it means a lot in that we will be bringing more tourists here, then we'll provide more jobs and more opportunities for our locals. So it is indeed important to us. This facility that has been renovated, we hope, based on the individual will run it, we hope it will be run in a way that we will actually get tourists here as well as locals. But apart from this facility alone, we are looking at other heritage tourism developments throughout the parish, and we took the minister on a tour of an area in Portmore, a very historic area, where we are trying to do a tour of that area. So we have formed a committee and we are looking into getting some funding from the Tourism Enhancement Fund to make that tour a reality.
The corporation has authority to manage the beach. How will the upkeep be guided?
The upkeep will be guided by statuses under the Local Governance Act and also our act in relation to our Building Act, the Town and Country Planning Act. We use all of those because as a local building authority, local planning authority, we also work along with other state agencies to manage our beaches, to manage our public spaces. So not only us will be responsible for the management of the beach, but we will also be using guidelines from other state agencies. It will ensure that the park has the requisite number of lifeguards, has the requisite safety facilities in place, for example, your backboards, your first aid kits, as I said, your lifeguards. As you can see, the lifeguard stands are already here. So we are ensuring that the safety of the members, not only of the workers, but of the general public, are taken into consideration, the security of the site in itself. We're going to ensure that the beach and itself will be developed into a recreational space, a park, so that the locals for not only Onoto Bay but the greater St. Mary will also be served and all visitors to this country.
What other important purpose does this transformation serve for the people of Onoto Bay?
It serves a very important purpose because it is an active open space. It's somewhere that you'll need for relaxation and rejuvenation because you work in a very stressful environment no matter where it is, and you are going to need a space where you can relax, you can congregate with your family, with your friends. So this is a facility that is needed for any community to fully develop an active open space area. This, I believe, is one of the premier sites in this area. It is not only going to be used as a beach park in itself, it's one of the areas that is going to be used, for example, like for your parties, because it is a little outside of the town, so you won't have that congestion in the town itself. So it will be used for that sort of facilities. It is well-needed facility, and we will endeavor to not only maintain as it is right now, but we'll also be developing for other facilities within this area.
We're gonna go for a break, but when we return, more from the Marking Stone Beach in Onoto Bay, St. Mary.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life, highlighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life turns art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
The business community has suffered tremendously due to extortion. Some have not just lost their businesses, their jobs, but lost their lives. This is extremely impactful to the growth of our country and to the progress of our people. We are our brother's keeper. Let's put a stop to this. No more use of force. No more use of fear. No more extortion. No more.
They say it takes a village to raise a child, but the world will one day need the leadership of that child. The time you spend with your child matters. It stimulates their minds and shapes the way they act. Talk with your children. Help them to better understand the world around them and to value what is truly precious. Above all, the most valuable gift you can give them is love. Play, talk, teach, love. Take the time. It makes all the difference. A message from the Parenting Helpline and Ad Council Jamaica.
And we're back. Thanks for staying with us for the coverage of the opening of the Marking Stone Beach held in Annotto Bay, St. Mary. Here's more.
You know, it also gives me great pride and a pleasure to be here today. And why this is so, I was whispering in the ears of the minister that this beach here has a special place in my heart as well. I can't tell you why. I mean, I've told him why, and I told Bob also. I can't tell nobody else. But when I was a little boy, I used to come to this beach regularly, and then when I became a young man, I used to come to this beach, but not just in the days, but in the nights as well. So you can understand what I'm talking about, right? Oh, yeah. But what is so pleasing is for the facility to be brought up to this level. And when I toured along with the minister, especially in the bathrooms, this is not just a hurry come up bathroom. This is a bathroom that can rival any facility in the world. I mean, the bathroom is well put together. And Bob, this is something that I hope, I may have mentioned it before, and I guess all the speakers will mention it, that building these properties is one thing, but to maintain them is the other thing. We want to know that when you come to facilities, you feel good that you're in the right place, not just somewhere that you just have to use. And this is a country, we're building a country based on excellence. Marking Stone Beach is also a manifestation of the quality development, and I know that Bob, with his expertise, when we come back here, Minister, this lawns will be pristine with green grass and flowering plants all around. And I was mentioning to the councillor earlier about the almond trees. You know, when these grow and become good shades across these seats, it will be a sight to behold. And that's what we want. We want facilities that we not only build, but we are proud to call our own, because we're building this new Jamaica. And before I come down, I want to again say special thanks to the minister. This is one minister, when you ask him about projects that means Jamaica well, he never says no. And I remember just coming into politics, and I asked him about several developments across Southeast St. Mary. And I'm proud to say that he has responded so well, and the people of Southeast is very thankful to you, sir. And look for your continued showering us with your blessings. We welcome this particular development, as with most developments that are taking place across Jamaica. But this development is special for me in a number of ways. As the Member of Parliament for this area, I mean, the development is welcome, but more importantly, I was born here, and this was one of my beaches that I used to visit when I was a little boy. And you know, I grew to love and appreciate this particular area. As you can see, it's very idyllic. It's away from the hustle and bustle, and it is very suitable for a day of full relaxation and fun. So we welcome it.
What does this transformation mean to you?
No, it means a lot, because what is happening and what has happened to a number of small communities across Jamaica, sometimes the development doesn't pass through or is not evident in those areas. So having something like this now shows that development can come to the local areas, and therefore it's important for us to appreciate this sort of development. And not only that, it might be a catalyst for other developments that will take place in a particular area. As you can see, it sits on the corridor, a major thoroughfare through this constituency.
How will you ensure sustainable management of this here beach?
Well, one of the things which we are very big on is not just the development of these facilities, but the maintenance of these facilities. And what has happened so far, which is quite remarkable, we have had a number of persons, I get to understand, that were interested in this facility, and they have selected one such individual now who is from the area as well. So this is somebody from the area who not only has a business interest but has a personal connection to it. So the facility is for us in Onoto Bay. I'd like to say thank you very much to the Minister, to TEF, and all the persons who have participated in this, to the Municipal Corporation, the Mayor, and the Councillor of this particular division, which is the Onoto Bay division, for their work in getting the facility to what it is. And we are happy for it, and I'm sure going forward, the persons who will use the facility will also find that it is a welcome addition to what we have. There are a number of other things which are going to come about in Southeast St. Mary that I'd like to say will happen in a very short time. We're getting a number of things done finally in Southeast St. Mary, because we believe that we can take our pride and rightful place in this development and this Jamaica that we are creating.
I'm therefore pleased to be here today to hand over an upgraded Marking Stone beach to complement your offerings. The beach was upgraded by the Tourism Enhancement Fund at a cost of $38.3 million as part of its National Beach Development Program. And I want to make the point that sometimes comments are made in advance of action known to begin, and the actions, when they follow, gives an impression as though they are being driven by another direction. But these series of beaches that we are going to be opening and handing over between now and the end of the year makes the story and tells the tale very well, that this represents work done, activities in train, and now work completed and ready to be handled. So we have done the upgrading here, not on the basis of providing a beach facility, but on the basis of providing a complete entertainment facility and an attraction in its own right. And when you look at what is done here, and you see that we have constructed a guardhouse, 3 gazebos, well-appointed restrooms, and I want you to take note of that. When you finish, go and look in those restrooms. And that's what we're talking about, because it makes no sense to have a wonderful beach and a beautiful facility, nice eating areas, and then afterwards you go to another place. We want you to go to a place equally appointed and well prepared and fit for purpose. We have parking facilities as well as landscaping work, among other significant improvements that you will see. We recognize that beaches are a great resource of tourism. In fact, our scenic beaches attract a large number of domestic and inbound tourists. This is why we have ensured that the TEF has committed to transform one beach in every parish to a quality recreational space. And remember the point I'm making, not to have a nice beach, but a quality recreational space. And it must operate at the highest and best international standards for a country such as ours. And it must be available to residents and visitors alike. So to date, We have spent $104 million for 3 beaches in the overall beach program. And the next one we will open properly is going to be licensed, where we spend $49 million to upgrade. And then we're going to do Boston Beach, and we're going to do Winifred Beach, and we are going to do other beaches in the west, because the west has to be touched too, and we are going to be doing beaches along the south coast as well. Those of us who have leadership in the political arena have a duty to guide and to lead and to enlighten and to ensure that that higher level of presentation is always kept in sight, and not to be part of any process that will help to lead people to be left out of the mainstream of development because our facilities are substandard. And as minister, I'm committed to that process. And this ministry will continue through the efforts of the TEF to upgrade and continue to enhance the quality of the Jamaican product, and to ensure that our ordinary Jamaican entrepreneurs, our little man, as we call it, have a nice, decent place to peddle their wares, where they can wash their hands and have proper conveniences, and they can feel and move around with air and space. And the visitors who come can also leave with a good impression and say when they leave Jamaica, what a wonderful little country that I have been. It was a joy to go to the markets in Jamaica. But we know that change is never a linear process, and that change sometimes requires a little bit of hand-holding. And we know that change sometimes causes a little bit of disruption. And sometimes we don't understand it, and when we don't understand it, we become suspicious of it. So we are going to work with our partners, and we're going to make sure that we hold hands and do it right, and do it together, and do the transformation from poverty to prosperity.
We pride ourselves in being a destination of sun, sea, and sun. And so we bring the world here for a beach experience as well. So it's a big part of the product in Jamaica. But we are careful to note that it represents a huge part of our resources that are being consumed by our people, and that the access represents an important route to ensuring that there's harmony between visitors and locals. So we have moved with energy and haste to prepare and fix local beaches that are appropriate and adequate and appointed for the purpose, so that our people will not be left out and we will feel less catered to because the beaches are not up to the standards.
How does this help or harm locals in the tourism sector?
We are now looking at management to ensure that there is good management here, so that the maintenance of these facilities can be secured and the further upgrading of what we have can be realized.
Who is responsible for the management, and how will it be guided?
Well, we developed the beach on behalf of the St. Mary Municipal Corporation, and what the Municipal Corporation has done is to then go to tender and procure and find a suitable person to manage and to handle the facilities here. So they have done that, and they tell me that they have found someone, and we will be looking to ensure that they keep up to the standard that we want for the beach.
How much of a challenge was the transformation for this beach in particular?
It truly was a challenge, because as you can see, this is just a dust bowl. That's what it was. And with the black sand beach, it's sometimes a little more difficult to work with than the traditional white sand beaches. But I think that the teams did well. Our technical people from TEF and TPDCO, who drove the process, were enough to the task, and they did a great job. And I'm satisfied that it didn't take us as long as we thought. In fact, we figured it might have been a little over a year when we started, but we were able to do it within a year, and I thank them for that efficiency.
And that brings to a close the official opening of Marking Stone Beach here in Onoto Bay, St. Mary. I'm Javon Keys for Business Access TV, serious about business.
Have you seen it? It's BATV Live. Live streams of business news weekdays at 7:30 p.m. Stay on point Thursdays at 8 p.m. with our Business Current Affairs show. And Weekend Business Report Saturdays at 7:30 p.m. wherever you are. Log on to our Facebook page at Business Access TV or visit our website at batvja.com. Live and at your fingertips. Business Access TV, serious about business.
Now presenting the Jamaica Social Investment Fund ICDP Enterprise Development Project. Entrepreneurial Grant Business Pitch.
This project is a $100 million grant that's seeking to target 50 small and micro business enterprises and give them training, capacity development, equipment, permits and license towards the development and the viability of their business. We have made a call for proposal in March of this year for entrepreneurs to submit for the opportunity to receive a grant between $1 and $5 million. We received more than 500 applications, and so we have now shortlisted them to 100. So we've invited that top 100 applicants here today, and they're going to have to pitch their business idea to a panel, and of the 150 will actually transpire and win the opportunity for the grants. One of the primary objectives of what we're doing here is employment. We want the business to be able to sustain not only the principals as the owners, but we also want the business to be able to employ at least 2 people. The next part of it, as we do in all of our projects like this, is it provides a learning instrument of how we can engage small and micro enterprises and take them to the next level.
Why we're doing this rigorous process? Because we want to identify the best potential entrepreneurs to fund for this project. And keep in mind that we are speaking about a loan, so we want to ensure that applicants are committed, and that from a sustainability point of view, that upon receiving the support from JSIF, that in 2 or 3 years, the enterprises will still be operational and the broader objective of the project would be achieved. Once we have now equipped them and they should be ready to start their production and going, we'll then have a mentorship component.
It has been a very competitive process. Jamaica is filled with persons with drive and passion. We're expecting that the best will be selected. And then for those who are not successful, we are also hoping to link them to other providers of services, because I'm telling you today, from what I've seen, it is an excellent, excellent, excellent opportunity. It's worthy of note that many persons coming here today already have some kind of semblance of a business, but they need the additional support to move that business to the other level, as well as some persons that come in with those proposals to start from scratch. On behalf of the JSIF, we want to really thank the DBJ and other partners from UWI who came to be part of the panel, and just to remind you that the JSIF is here and we're investing for community development.
Good day. Thanks for joining us on another Jamaica Magazine program. I'm Adrian Atkinson, your host for the next half hour. From road development to increasing water supply, today's show has a bit of information from all areas. We kick things off with a word of advice, followed by the news.
Hurricanes can strike at any time. In the event of one, be prepared to act quickly. If a hurricane watch or warning has been issued, review your home disaster response plan. Map out likely routes to evacuate if your home is at risk and confirm with relatives or friends you plan to stay with. Also, confirm the location of the nearest shelter. Check your emergency supplies and restock if necessary. Remember, disasters do happen, so be prepared.
Good day, I'm Sandra Clark and this is your JIS News for Monday, September 30. Standard & Poor's S&P has upgraded Jamaica's long-term foreign and local currency rating from B to B+. S&P on Friday also gave the country's short-term foreign and local sovereign credit ratings a B. The outlook remained stable. The transfer and convertibility assessment was rated B-, coming from a B+ by the International Rating Agency. According to Standard & Poor's, the rating is a result of Jamaica's sustained progress in achieving macroeconomic stability and strengthening of its external liquidity. The rating comes just a few days after Jamaica completed its sixth and final review of the 3-year precautionary standby arrangement with the International Monetary Fund. Prime Minister Andrew Holness is currently in the U.S. capital of Washington, D.C., where he's tapped to hold high-level bilateral talks with Vice President Mike Pence. The talks comes on the heels of discussions with President Donald Trump while at the 74th session of the United Nations General Assembly in New York last week. At that time, the ongoing situation in Venezuela, energy security, and other areas of interest between the two countries were discussed. While in Washington, D.C., Mr. Holness is expected to meet with the president of the Inter-American Development Bank, Louis Moreno. Talks are also to be had with the heads of state from nations in the Gulf. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says a tree planting initiative aimed at combating climate change is to be launched shortly. The National Tree Planting Initiative will see over 3 million trees being planted across the island, representing 1 tree for every Jamaican citizen. Mr. Holness says the program will be launched on October 4 at Jamaica House and will be carried out over a 3-year period.
We remain committed to the reduction of the erosion of watersheds and the attendant impact on coastal ecosystems. We are partnering with others to ensure that our marine environment, on which our socio-economic survival depends, is being sustainably utilized and managed.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness was addressing the 74th session of the United Nations General Assembly on Friday. Mr. Holness used the occasion to recommit Jamaica's participation in fora that will further enhance action against climate change. Jamaica now has a survey of establishments that provides data on the total number of entities participating in commercial, business, and other similar engagements across Jamaica. The 2018 report will assist the public and private sectors to formulate strategies, policies, and programs. Findings from the survey will also be used as an input for the Statistical Business Registrar, SBR, which is maintained by the Statistical Institute of Jamaica, STATIN. Endorsing the report at the launch last Wednesday, Minister of Finance Dr. Nigel Clark said it provides a baseline for related future surveys.
It is absolutely crucial to have reliable data on which policy can be formulated and data on which private enterprises can base their strategies. We are recognizing that policy that is built on the background or on the foundation of data is policy that can actually be forceful in alleviating the concerns and the problems that we face.
Meanwhile, Director General of the Planning Institute of Jamaica, PIOJ, Dr. Wayne Henry, said the data will help to identify and understand economic trends and assist with the growth and expansion for businesses.
The PIOJ and its partners in producing the JC are confident that this and future surveys will contribute significantly to filling the need for data to enhance business, economic planning and development in Jamaica.
The Jamaica Survey establishment was carried out by Statin and published by the PIOJ. Funding support is from the World Bank through the Foundations for Competitiveness and Growth project. The Ministry of Justice says it will be revising the Dogs Liability of Injuries Act to make owners of dogs that attack persons be criminally liable. The decision was made following the recent attack on a school teacher by 4 pit bulls. Portfolio Minister Delroy Chuck says currently the law only provides for compensation when a person is attacked or injured.
We're going to repeal that law. That's the Dogs Liabilities for Injuries Act, and put in place Dogs Liability of Owners Act. So the burden will be on owners to ensure that their dogs are kept under control. And if the dogs are not kept under control, and they should escape from the yard, escape from the leash, and injure persons, then there will be the possibility, remember I'm saying these are proposals, of criminal liability.
Minister Chuck was speaking last Thursday at a contract signing and press briefing. The minister says other stakeholders, such as the Ministry of Local Government and Community Development and the Ministry of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries, will assist in updating the legislation. And finally, $2.8 million will be used by government to train 30 school administrators how to better serve and educate students with special education needs. These include principals, vice principals, and members of school boards from selected schools across the island. This is being facilitated through a Memorandum of Understanding signed recently with the Ministry of Education, the Jamaica Social Investment Fund, and the National College for Educational Leadership, NCEL.
The course will seek to help educators to transform their physical school environment and classrooms to encourage inclusivity and to facilitate the maximum learning of children with disabilities. The course will seek to help educators to make intentional attempts to inculcate in teachers the dispositions needed for them to create inclusive classrooms.
And that's important because while we do things in the classrooms, while we do things with the students, it is also important that we spend the necessary time to focus on the principals and the vice principals who provide leadership in the schools.
The Inclusive School Leadership course is being funded by JSIF through its Basic Needs Trust Fund and administered by NCEL. The course is aimed at strengthening the capacity of principals to create inclusive school environments that will ensure children living with disabilities can be successfully enrolled in mainstream schools. And that's it for JIS News today. I'm Sandra Clark. Thanks for watching.
The Hagley Park Road Improvement Project is over 80% complete. Yes, the government is ensuring that you get to and from your destination with as little a hassle as possible. Get more details from the National Works Agency.
Driving through 3 miles all the way down Hagley Park Road a few years ago might have been any of these things for you. A chaotic encounter of traffic from maybe about 3 sections of the island. A resounding morning and evening tune of piercing vehicular horns. Or an irksome journey for a motoring public in a hurry, but hardly going anywhere. With 70,000 vehicles filtered through the 3 miles area daily, it's one of the country's busiest intersections, and now one of the most accommodating. Here's how we dissect 4 separate components of the work at the Hagley Park Road Legacy Project.
As it relates to the bridge here at Portia Simpson Miller Square, the bridges are complete As a matter of fact, they are in use. What is left to be done is that along the structure that takes persons along Spanish Town Road, we have a bit of paving to do at the eastern end of that lane, or those lanes that take persons towards downtown Kingston. The contractor is now working to do the final bit of work so that the asphaltic concrete works can begin on those two lanes that take traffic into downtown Kingston. The lanes that take traffic out of the city towards 6 Mile, those lanes have been done. We still have a bit of work to do along Spanish Town Road up to the boundary. So part and parcel of what we intend to do is to have certain points along Hagley Park Road signalized. So we intend to put back the signals, and we have done so at Woodglen Avenue. We have put up a new set of signals at O'Mara Road, also at Keesing Avenue, Margaret Villa. We are yet to have the signals there installed, but rest assured, this will be done before the project is complete. We are also going to be putting back the signals at Waltham Park Road and Hagley Park Road. Signals are there as we speak, but those are of a temporary nature. The permanent signals will be put up at all of these locations. In respect of the laying of the main sewer trunk, that has been completed. We still have work to do in respect of the connections that are to be made to the different entities along Hagley Park Road. That, of course, will be done by the National Water Commission at the appropriate time. In respect of the stormwater drains, we still have a bit of work to do in the 3 Miles area to ensure that all the new features that we have installed, that there is interconnectivity taking the water into the main drain that takes it out to sea. So I would say that the drainage network is somewhere in the 90s insofar as percentage complete is concerned. In terms of the corridor, we would have completed the widening activity. What is being done now in terms of activities, we are putting in the sidewalks in areas along Hagley Park Road. We still have some work to do in respect of the completion of infrastructure to do with the laying of some docks, but that I expect will be completed in very, very short order so that the sidewalk works can move apace in those areas where such activity is outstanding.
So, if you're heading to 6 Miles, if you're going to downtown, or heading to Marcus Garvey Drive or Halfway Tree, that converging conflict at 3 Miles is much easier on the motoring public. Now, the Hagley Park Road Legacy project is about 80% complete, but already the motoring public that are still in a hurry seem to be moving, and the honking horns play at a reduced decibel.
Now we have been able to separate the traffic into 3 distinct flows, and so that in and of itself would have brought some significant benefits to the motoring public.
But recognizing that there are still outstanding works to be done, persons are being encouraged to use the road with extreme caution.
As the days and the weeks are ticked off, rest assured that persons will start to not only see but feel the benefits of the improved works that we have done along Hagley Park Road.
When you're on the road, take your time. When you're on the road, bear this in mind. When you're on the road, you could save a life when you're on the road.
Government is utilizing all ways and means to ensure that your water supply is uninterrupted. Hear more next.
Hello and welcome to OPM Connect, the program that helps explain government's activities and policies. I'm Naomi Francis. Today we look at water management, especially in regards to the corporate areas. Some communities are experiencing a lack of or shortage of water, if you will. And so today we're being joined by the Minister with responsibility for water. He really is the Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Senator the Honorable Pernell Charles Jr. Welcome, sir. We also have Mr. Michael Dunn, the Vice President of Operations for the Eastern Division at the National Water Commission. And joining us too is Mr. Audley Thompson, the Managing Director of Rural Water Supply Limited. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. This is a hot button issue. Water is life, as they say. Minister, help us understand what's really going on regarding the provision of water, particularly in some communities in the corporate area.
Well, firstly, it is the most challenging of topics. And besides our national security, I think that for Jamaica now, this has been the topic on the radio, in the communities, in the churches, because water is so critical to every aspect of your life. That's why our Prime Minister has truly mandated that we ramp up the communication so we can ensure that the public is fully aware of the accurate information and of the situation we are in. We are committed, firstly, to ensuring that we develop a system that will allow us to not repeat the mistakes of the past. We've inherited a system which is deficient and vulnerable because it relies so much on rainfall. And we're moving towards, in the medium and long term, a system that will introduce different means of sourcing and delivering water and reducing the wastage. But in the short term, which is what people want to hear, what are we doing? So the NWC and the Rural Water, in addition to other agencies and the municipalities, have been working very hard to really assess the drought, which has been an intense and a prolonged drought. It has caused us to see massive reductions in flow to the rivers, which feed into our treatment systems. And so the reality, the practical reality for us, take for instance our Mona Reservoir, which has a capacity of 808.5 million gallons. When you're seeing that at 30%, 35% now, which is improved, it gives you a very clear appreciation that we have to be very efficient with what we have.
What's happening at Hermitage, Mr. Dunn?
Okay, well, Hermitage is currently at about 40% of capacity.
Wow,
So
still below 50.
Absolutely. So we are producing on an average about 8 million gallons of water per day. On a normal circumstance, the demand is 16 million. So you can see there where the deficit and where the shortfall is.
Yes.
And as the minister had pointed out, Mona, which is just about 30-35% of capacity, 35 to be accurate, we are producing roughly about 8 million gallons.
There's a real problem.
So there is a deficit.
With the resources we have, though, you're saying that not all customers of the National Water Commission is affected. So tell us exactly what is happening in terms of the distribution of water.
All right, so let me tell you, because it's not the entire corporate areas that is affected. And if I will start from 6 miles, so Duane Park, Washington Gardens, Patrick City, Meadowbrook Estate, Queensboro, Havendale, Meadowbrook, Forest Hill, Chancery, Stonehill don't have a problem.
They have regular water?
They have regular water supply. It's only the area that is bordered on along like State Gardens, Zeta Gardens, Dunrobin Court, areas along Malines Road, and locations along Waltham Park Roads and some part of Eastwood Park Road that are Maxfield Avenue that are currently being affected, and that is directly in relation to the unrepaired pipeline that has been out of operation since December last year. We are expecting, as the minister probably tell you, that that pipeline should be back in operation sometime by December of this year. there is a particular pipeline from 6 Mile that runs all the way along Spanish Town Road up to Glenmore Road that has been there for in excess of 50 years. And it's a very, very shaky infrastructure. And that is limiting or reducing our ability to be able to bring additional water into Kingston up to Mariska Road. So that pipeline to the extent of $60 million is being contemplated, and in fact is far along in terms of being replacement. So that is going to be an added solution to the problem. What the minister had mentioned.
That's a solution in the corporate area.
Yes.
And so we're focused on the corporate area because it seems the corporate area has the greatest issue. What about the rest of Jamaica, and in particular too, the population density in areas such as Portmore, Clarendon?
Okay, well, we don't have a problem in St. Catherine as we speak.
Don't?
Okay? No, we don't have a problem in Portmore.
Including Hellshire?
Including Hellshire, and as I had pointed out to you earlier, the problem with Portmore is more of an operational issues related to GPS and so forth. Now, that matter has been sorted out. But what we have also done to improve the service level to Portmore is that there are 2 additional wells at Goshen Government Park. One has already been put back in place, and the other one will be ready within another month or thereabout. And with those 2 wells coming into operation, there will be an additional 1 million gallons going to Portmore, which should be able to suffice and meet the demand in Portmore. So there should not be an issue in Portmore. And as we speak, Portmore really don't have an issue.
Okay.
Outside of the occasional operational challenges.
So apart from the corporate area then, Mr. Dunn, you're saying that we're pretty much okay with the rest of Jamaica?
Well, let me tell you, the rest of Jamaica, the West is really not seeing a problem. There is currently a situation in Portland and St. Mary and St. Anne. A lot of those locations are surface sources, and those rivers are running very, very low. Some of the streams have dried up completely. So we are having a challenge in those areas. It's not much on the news, but it is still a problem. In fact, we have been able to kind of manage the station very well by moving the water around from one location to another and sharing it, doing a bit of regulation, augment with trucking. So that has been okay. I noticed, you would have noticed that you have not heard in the news about schools being out of water. So we have been able to manage that situation very well by doing extensive trucking. And that seems to be kind of making the problem as less.
What does Rural Water Supply Limited do?
The non-utility service areas are mainly areas that are managed by the municipal corporation and in some instance community organizations. These are small systems, right? And the modality of supply might be a spring, might be a river source, might be catchment tanks in terms of rainwater harvesting. Rural Water Supply Limited have gotten, as the Minister explained, an increased budget of $800 million for this financial year. At present, we intend to complete 26 systems in rural areas. We're talking about water supply systems. So far, we have started approximately 14 projects, right, in spanning all over the island, right? If you call a parish, I can tell you what project we are doing there and when we intend to complete it.
Portland.
In Portland, you have Kildare, Charlestown. You have an old pipeline that normally supplies Buff Bay, right? And that is being replaced. You have Bangor Ridge up in the hills of West Portland, right? They have challenges in terms of water. We are fixing up an entombment, we are piping it, and we're also fixing up a catchment tank. That's in West Portland.
Boy, you've challenged me,
East
I
Portland.
gave you the challenge,
East
and
Portland.
you picked it up. Very good.
East Portland, you have some challenges along the strip from Ferry Hill to Long Bay.
Yes, I've
Boston,
heard that.
the water there is salty. We are doing some investigation in drilling a new well in Islington to actually improve that system, right? So you see we're working in East and West Portland.
And what about St. Elizabeth, for example?
All right, St. Elizabeth, Top Aberdeen. We're doing a system in Top Aberdeen where the municipal corporation has been at us for several years, right? And we are now putting in place where we're going to take some water, we're going to put up a solar pumping station, and we're going to be building reservoirs and things like that.
Yes. So certainly you're integrating the entire island and not focus too much on the corporate area. You're making sure that everybody has a sense of priority, really, so to speak. We really want to acknowledge the fact that the Prime Minister leading the delegation to the United Nations General Assembly is really, really paying attention to this matter of climate change adaptation, mitigation, and of course, financing, very, very important, and certainly it's something that we all as Jamaicans must watch and must find a way to be a part of in terms of solutions. Thank you so much for joining us for this week's edition of OPM Connect. Join us again next week for another interesting discussion.
I'm deeply concerned by the number of Jamaicans killed on our roads. Safety on our roads is our responsibility. Jamaicans, drivers, passengers, motorcyclists, and pedestrians, slow down. Observe the rules of the road. Be courteous. Drive defensively. Be considerate. Buckle up. Wear a helmet. The careless overtaker is only rushing to the undertaker. Not observing the rules of the road could cost you your life and that of your loved ones. I encourage all road users to take special care as we use public thoroughfares. The life you save may be your own. Remember, your family wants you to arrive alive.
Garbage collection, maintenance of public sanitary conveniences, upkeep of cemeteries, provision of water shops, road improvement, street lights, poor relief programs, community beautification. All these services are funded by you. Yes, they are, when you pay your property tax. Pay your annual property tax to make Jamaica the place of choice for all.
And that's all the time we have on this station. Be sure to join us again tomorrow for another informative program. We are available online at your leisure. Visit gis.gov.jm, add our social media pages, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and download our mobile app to your smartphone. On behalf of the entire team here at the GIS, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.
Caring Hands Season 3 continues to effect change in a changing environment.
Many of us were raised by grandmothers, right? So, I mean, we know the wisdom that these people have.
Going beyond business.
The little leaders of today are our leaders of tomorrow. And with the proper education, we'll have very good leadership coming from that.
That's Season 3 of Caring Hands, creating change and shaping lives, every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life, highlighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life turns art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
On this week's episode of Wealth Magazine Business Access, from Monterey to Kingston.
So coming to Jamaica has been an amazing experience.
Red Stripe Managing Director Ricardo Nuncio tells us about his journey.
When you're very driven and you want to achieve success in your career, never think about your next move. Think about 2 moves ahead.
And making life decisions.
He said, do you want to be the tail of the lion or do you want to be the head of the mouse? And I said, you know what? Head of the mouse actually sounds quite good. My name is Ricardo Nuncio. I'm the Managing Director for Red Stripe. I'm from Mexico, and I grew up in a small town in the northwest of Mexico called Durango. So basically, I just enjoy by that time, probably was similar here in Jamaica, you just got the time to spend playing in the streets, going in your bike, just enjoying and being out with friends. I had a happy childhood. I have a sister who's older, but basically I just I enjoyed simple things. No, I really like to. There's a good forest close to where I live, so we went there on Sundays just for camping, spending time with my grandparents and uncles and aunts and cousins. So it was family time, but it was simple, and I have to say that it was a happy life. We were very tight always as a family. I have to say that I've always been a fan of Christmas Eve because it's a time when basically all the family from my mom's side, we got together and enjoyed great Christmases with a lot of people, a lot of noise, a lot of kids. So I really enjoyed that. So basically just grew up being a good student. I always been into trying to get good grades. So I was kind of a nerdy boy growing up, but always had the time to enjoy and relax and have friends and play. You know? So always had that good combination. Was never very good in sports, I have to be honest. I got the other day that people think Mexican and they immediately think that you're good at soccer, no? Or football, which I'm terrible at. But I really enjoyed basketball. I liked tennis also, but never a big, let's say, sport athlete. No? But I always like to do something else, no? And do some exercise. So I started my school in an American school in my home state. I was very privileged because that's where I got exposed to English when I was very young, so I really got the opportunity to start learning a new language. After that, I went to a popular high school, which was not, I would say, very demanding in grades, but it was very good in, let's say, socializing. It was good to build your networking, so that was good for me in high school. And then from there, I moved away from home. I went to live in a different city, away from my parents, and went to study at a university called Tec de Monterrey, which is a very prestigious university for engineering. And I was very lucky because I got a scholarship to go there and study chemical engineering. Actually, it was a big decision back then because I had two choices. All my life I wanted to go to that university. That was my dream, but it was extremely expensive and my parents couldn't afford to send me to that school. So there was another option of another school. So I applied to both. For the school I didn't want to go, I got a 100% scholarship, but I really didn't want to go there. And I was a bit overwhelmed, I didn't know what to do. And then all of a sudden I got a scholarship, it was a partial scholarship to go to the university I wanted. So finally my parents made an effort and I was able to go to the school I always wanted to go, to the university. And that was an amazing experience for me. I chose a very difficult degree. Chemical engineering is extremely tough. You basically are dealing with numbers all the time. I remember my exams were basically just one paragraph stating a problem and they gave you like 20 blank pages and you had to just drill down and try to solve your exam, and were exams that lasted 5 hours. And I remember very well because my exams were normally at Friday in the afternoons. And that was exactly the time where everyone else was in the stadium seeing the American football team playing. And I remember that everyone was yelling and I was thinking to myself, what am I doing here? Doing an exam, 5 pages long, doing numbers. well, I could be out there enjoying the game. No? So I had to make the challenge a choice, but I have to say that I had really good friends, and also that university is very, very welcoming, so you get a lot of extracurricular activities. So I have very fond memories, very good friends, which I still have contact with. And I have to say that I never, let's say, said no to going to a party or going out or having a drink or a beer. So I think at the end I took the right decision of the degree I decided to study, and also the mix and the balance between having fun and knowing where to concentrate and study hard. The good thing is that I always had the privilege to live in a middle-class family. No? So, of course, we were not upper class, but we were middle class, comfortable. We had the opportunity to vacation once or twice a year, nothing fancy, but a good life. But definitely my dad had to really push to be able to offer that type of life for us. So my dad has always been a great example for me of how to work hard, how to also enjoy the good moments of life, how to have fun, how to enjoy food. He loves to eat, so I got that from him. I'm not good at sports, but there was a moment where I made the basketball team, and we went to play to a different city. And I was the oldest of the team, so I kind of made it because of my age. So I was playing with younger kids, still very competitive. So I really cherished that moment because I was able to score the last 2 free shots to win the final game that we won. So that was very fun for me because I was something different. That was not what I was used to do, because I was always, let's say, more so good at grades, but not good at that other component of my life. So I enjoyed that moment. Of course, it never happened again, but I have that as something that I cherish because I really enjoyed that. He said, "Do you want to be the tail of the lion, or do you want to be the head of the mouse?" And I said, "Okay, give me 2 days and I'll come back to you."
As a teacher for over 8 years, we need to realize that the children are our future. We need to love them, appreciate and respect our children. No more violence against children. No more!
Chemical engineering is actually a career that has a lot of prestige in Mexico. So once you finish, and this university is a very good university, so you get the opportunity to get several offers once you graduate, which is not very common because Mexico, similar as Jamaica, it's let's say a developing country, a developing economy. So unemployment in youth is very high. So it's not very common. But I was very lucky because when I was still 1 month before graduation, I got a call from a petrochemical company, a big company in Monterrey, in the city where I studied, and I was offered a job in the finance department. And I remember perfectly my dad saying, I mean, you really worked hard for 6 years in a very tough career. Just relax, take 4 months, just think what you want to do for the rest of your life. Just enjoy, go party, and do something fun. My dad was telling me that. And I was so full to say, no, Dad, I have to take this job because I'm being offered a job. There's not a lot of jobs out there, so I'm gonna take it. So I said no to those 4 months of enjoyment, and I went right into working at that company. But it was the right decision because it was a good job, and I started in finance. And it was very interesting. I have very fond memories of that first company. I went to study my MBA, and in my MBA I met a very good friend who was the commercial director for a small company. And he said that he wanted to invite me to come work for him. So I said, I don't know, because you're a small company, I'm really working here. It's a multinational, I'm working in a big company. And then he said something that will always stick in my mind. He said, do you want to be the tail of the lion, or do you want to be the head of the mouse? And I said, okay, give me 2 days and I'll come back to you. So I had my girlfriend there, which is actually now my wife. And I said, you know what? Head of the Mouse actually sounds quite good. So I took the risk and I said yes to that opportunity. And I have to say that it was one of the greatest decisions I made. It was a small company, very agile, not a lot of process implemented, selling candies. I had to travel all over Mexico. I was in finance, I moved to the commercial department in charge of doing all the commercial intelligence and the reporting and sales quota for the sales force and commercial intelligence. But then I moved to sales, which was also a great moment in my career, because I was now in charge of going directly to the customers and trying to get in new products, selling what we were, the new innovation and all the benefits of our candies. These are Mexican candies. And it was also a great experience because we were bought, when I was there, we got bought by a bigger company, a multinational called FM Mars. They are the owners of Snickers, Twix, Pedigree, so a very big company. So that was a great experience because I got to live the transition from a family business to a more structured, a more aggressive, a more result-driven, more organized business. So that was very, very, very good for me. So I spent 3 years there in that company. And then I got a really good opportunity, and actually a friend from that company that actually left the company to start his own business. He started to be a headhunter. So he said, you're gonna be my first customer, so I'm going to make sure that I get you a better job now. So I said, okay, do what you can. So he got me 2 interviews, one for a big cement company in Mexico called Cemex, and the other one for the brewing company called Cuauhtémoc Moctezuma. So I got into Cuauhtémoc Moctezuma, thankfully. It was a great interview, so I got the job. But it was actually, again, a big challenge for me because when they offered me the job, they said, you know what, we don't know what is the job you're gonna be doing, and we don't know which part of Mexico you're going to be based. But here's what we can offer you, no? And we're sure that it's gonna be a great experience for you. So I was basically just married. I was 4 months married. So I went back and did my team back with my wife and said, so here's the opportunity. We may need to move away from Monterrey where we are living. But I think it's the right thing to do. So she's always been very supportive, and she said, if you think it's the right thing to do, let's do it. So we took the challenge and we took the role in the beer company. And then we basically started moving all over Mexico. No? So the adventure began. No? We went from Monterrey, we changed to 4 different cities, moved to 5 or 6 different houses in 8 years. So that adventure has been with us ever since that decision. No? Back in 2010, this Mexican beer company was acquired by Heineken. So that's when I became part of Heineken. So coming to Jamaica has been an amazing experience. I have to say that this is a great country. I love Jamaica. I love the people. I love the food. I like Scotch Bonnet. I'm a big coffee drinker, so I love how coffee is brewed here, very intense. It's a great coffee. I love the mountains. I like here Kingston. You see that view, and it's really, really beautiful. I've been all over. I have to tell you that. The beaches you have here are extremely, extremely beautiful now. So my best part, I have to say, is Portland. No? So Port Antonio, I'm a big fan of Port Antonio, but there's a lot of very beautiful places all over. So in that sense, Jamaica has been amazing. My kids are happy, my wife is happy, so we're all enjoying. We've been here for a year. Not everything has been a walk in the clouds or pink all the time. Has been tough, and has been tough because of mainly 2 things. No, one is we had to integrate the company to Heineken, and integrate in a company which, if you remember, I kind of lived in my two past experiences, but never in charge of integrating it. I just lived it, and now I had to lead that integration. So it was very tough because it was a lot of work. We still needed to perform and deliver our results, but on top of that, we needed to integrate processes, systems, ways of working, performance management, just even the way the computers are configured and how you reach your email. So it was a lot of work to integrate the business. And the second big challenge is the culture, implementing a new culture. So the company was previously owned by Diageo. So Heineken has very defined values, core values, and behaviors that define who Heineken is all over the world. So that was also a next challenge, because you can just put your behaviors, you can put your values on the wall, but the big thing is how do you inspire people to live through those values and really get people to see that. So I have a big role there to play because I have to basically live through those values, which I do, but it's important that cascades from the top to the bottom and that people feel really connected to that. So those were the two big challenges, integrating the company and changing the culture. So the first thing is you need to know who your team is, and you have to make sure that your team is in the same page with you. But also you have to be connected to the people. So I'm always a believer of being close to the ground. I got that tip from the previous MD, and he said you have to be close to the people in the ground, because if you really want to get the pulse of what the company is saying, feeling, you have to be connected to the people on the shop floor, in the packaging line. So I normally go to the packaging line, I talk to the employees, ask them questions, how they're feeling. I really like to go to our canteen, to our cafeteria, and just sit down, have lunch with new employees that I haven't talked to or haven't met, and just ask them questions, how they're feeling. A very titanic thing that I did, which was, I'm very thankful that I did it. On my first 4 months, I wanted to meet on a one-on-one as many employees as I could. Redstripe is a company of overall fairly 300 employees, and I interviewed on a one-on-one almost 120 employees. And within those interviews, I basically asked them 3 questions. What do you love about the company? What should we not change? And what has to change? And those 3 questions really gave me a lot of insights of what was going on, what needed to change. Of course, we're not there yet. This is not something you can just flip the page and you're there. But it's we have a clear path of where we want to go. So that was basically how I structured, how I got those insights, got the involvement of my team, and just defined how we were going to make that shift. So we have a clear and simple vision. We want to be Jamaica's most admired company. That's our vision. But also internally, within the region, the Caribbean region, we are part of that Caribbean region. We want to become the biggest operating company within the Caribbean. Right now we're number 3. So we want to become the biggest one. And that ambition links to what that will mean for Jamaica. At the end, reaching that ambition means that we have to double our business basically by 2019. We have to double the size of our business in volume and also in profits. So that means that we have to push really hard domestically to keep growing our share, our revenues, our volumes, and that will translate into more jobs, more opportunities. So that's where we have to make that link and that connection emotionally with our employees and also with Jamaica. The more we grow, the more we can actually give back and employ more people. A clear example is a decision that we just made of bringing back the production from the US in Pennsylvania back to Jamaica, where we started producing and shipping to the US in September. So that immediately created basically almost 40 direct employments for the business. On top of that, we're really pushing through that project around agriculture. We're now using cassava, locally grown cassava, in our beer. We're almost using 10% substitution of an imported raw material with locally grown cassava. So that also links to to how we're giving back, how we're integrating that ambition and that level of growth to be able to employ more people in the fields and actually allow more families to benefit from that growth. No? So it's a very, very ambitious target, but it's a great and compelling vision because it's the way we can really give back to Jamaica. Within that ambition also is making Red Stripe a key global player. It's an amazing brand. It's already present in more than 30 countries. And this year alone, after Heineken acquired Red Stripe, we went into 3 new countries that have a lot of potential. We went into Australia, which is doing really well. We went into Brazil, and we went into Dubai. Next year, we have the possibility to go into Mexico. That's already confirmed. I had to use my arguments to get it there, but it's gonna be there. We're going into France. We're going into Germany. So there's a lot of opportunities for Red Stripe internationally as well, which fills us all with a lot of excitement, and a lot of that, or most of that production, is going to be done here in Jamaica. When you're very driven and you want to achieve success in your career, never think about your next move. Think about 2 moves ahead.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life. Highlighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life turns art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but 4 walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
What really motivates me is, to be honest, is when I go back home. You know, that moment when I get home, I say hello to my wife, kiss my kids, and just get some space to relax and just be there watching TV with them and just relaxing. You know? It's a perfect moment that I really value. And I mean, at the end, we do what we do for our family, no? That's the biggest connection, no? So what drives me is to be able to offer my family great experiences, no? It's not about what you can give them on things, but it's how you offer them experiences. So we love to travel all over the island, as I was saying, and that drives me, that weekend to go out and experience a different part of Jamaica. It's definitely a moment that I expect to be in that weekend with my family, to experience that. Also, what drives me is to see the results, no? To see that things are moving, that things are happening. So those small accomplishments or big accomplishments drives me, and it's making them part of all the team. So all the team knows that they were part of those results. It's also really important now. So it's never a walk in the park, and there's good days, there's bad days. So you just have to learn about those, learn about the mistakes, and just try to do it better next day. When you're very driven and you want to achieve success in your career, never think about your next move. Think about 2 moves ahead, no? So it's very important, because when you think about 2 moves ahead, then your next move makes sense, because you're able to connect your next move to get to that second move that you want to achieve. I think that people think that I'm friendly. So I am friendly, and the misconception may be that I can't be tough when needed, no? But at the end, I mean, when you have to be tough and make some tough calls and decisions, it's part of the job. You have to do it, no? The other misconception is that some of my employees have told me that I don't have fun. Coming back to that part, no? So that misconception is he's a nice guy, but he's too serious, no? He doesn't know how to party or how to relax or have fun. So that's a misconception, because I I love to party, I love to enjoy, I love to relax, I love to just hang out and have fun. But sometimes I can't do it all the time. But listening to that advice, that's where I say I have to learn to bring that part of me more, because that actually makes a big difference of being able to connect more, not only with the brain, but also connect to the heart. So giving back is a big part of who we are in Red Stripe. We have a foundation, we have the DNG Foundation, so we always try to see how we can give back. There's a beautiful program that we have that is Learning for Life, where we train young Jamaicans and we give them skills so they can be employable. And when I got here and I learned about that program, I was really amazed. We've trained so far 11,000 young Jamaicans, and almost 70% of them are employed. So the rate is incredible. And we want to get to 20,000 young Jamaicans trained by 2020, which is a great way to give back, because at the end, there's this saying, don't give people fish, teach them how to fish. So Learning for Life is that exactly. We're giving them tools to be able to then go to the world and drive results and actually be employable. So that's a big one for us. If you asked me 15 years ago, you're gonna be in Jamaica, being in charge of Red Stripe, I would have never thought of that. And I probably would have said, you're crazy, So I think that the biggest change is that I've learned to take personal risks. So every moment throughout my career that I've taken that personal risk, it has allowed me to grow. When I decided what career to study or where university to go, when I decided to move from a big company to a small company and start over. When I decided to go into the beer business without knowing where I was going to end, where I was going to live, or what I was going to do. And also when I decided to say, yes, I want to go to Jamaica. So it's been risks, so it's just learning how to manage those risks. And for me, what I would say is also sharing, having someone who's my wife, always there to support those decisions. So having her as a partner, because at the end this is a partnership, it's a society, and we have to make it work for us as a unit, as a family. So having her support has been critical. So I'm very happy to have her. So wealth for me has to do with experiences. For me, a wealthy person is a person that has a lot of experiences, that has lived good things in his life that he's able to remember and to share. Wealth is not about what you have, it's about what you know, what you've been through. There's a big saying in Mexico that when you die and you go to the grave, you basically take dirt with you. You don't have anything, So at the end is that wealth is being able to have people in your life that you know you can always count on. We've been very lucky because of this life that we've been changing every 2 years from state to state. We have to start over, but starting over also has that benefit, because we know more people, and that those people become our family, and those connections last over the years. So I would say that we're wealthy in the sense that we have a lot of friends all over Mexico, and now here in Jamaica, hopefully more friends to come here in Jamaica. So that for me is wealth.
You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious
about business.
Serious about business.
Business Access TV comes to you from the 2018 staging of the PSOJ President's Forum Service Excellence Awards. I'm Javon Keys and we're here to bring you the highlights. Stay tuned.
The purpose of this award is really to raise the bar for service excellence in Jamaica. Organizations apply for the award, and what we have found over the years is that organizations improve significantly. See, when you go through a process of assessing your organization on very specific criteria, it opens your eyes as to what your strengths and the gaps are, and so companies work assiduously to improve on it. So over the years, we have seen an increase in the quality of the service delivered by the winners in this competition. First of all, they apply, and their application is screened. Once they are screened, if they score a particular score, then they are selected and shortlisted for a site visit. Now we have trained examiners who actually go into the organizations to assess the organization against these criteria, looking for objective evidence, because anybody can write anything on an application, but we have to look for the evidence, and then on the basis of that, the panel of assessors get together and submit a report to the panel of adjudicators, which are the judges, of which I'm the chief judge, and it's from that process we select the final winner in 3 categories: the large company, the medium-sized company, and the small company. Now this year we're also giving category awards because there are 7 categories against which the organization is assessed: leadership, customer charter and standards, training and capacity development, international benchmarks, monitoring and recognition, monitoring and measurements, recognition and reward, and complaints management. So we're giving awards in these because some companies excel in these areas and they might not win the big award. And so on the basis of that, we figure that encouragement sweetens labor, so we give awards to those who merit it.
I'm just reminding you that we are in a context that does not afford us the luxury of behaving like savages, of doing whatever we want to do, whenever we want to do it, and of treating ourselves as dirt. This is not the world that we are going to succeed in if we are going to succeed. So, self-respect and a common belief in our country, a caring commitment to our fellow citizens, are a part of the underpinning of customer service, of good governance, that must be an essential part of whatever progress that we hope to make as a nation. We must develop ourselves to be people of our word, to keep our commitments, not to make throwaway promises every election time that we all know will never be kept, and we all know we won't ask to be committed, to be fulfilled. We must build institutions that are credible, that give value for money every time, that are honest stewards of our stakeholders' interests, that value transparency and accountability over individual or partisan interests. So, when in 2017, I spoke and said that 2018 would be a crossroads year, and that we must develop our human capital to support our economic reforms, I wasn't just talking about technical skills training. That is important, it's critical. But we must forge a new national culture of mindfulness of others, of self-respect, and of integrity. And I know I get controversial from time to time. And when I criticize the government or I criticize politicians, it's not partisan. It's not personal. It is just that they are our leaders and they are held to a higher standard of customer service. They are out there. They hold themselves out just like we do, just like every leader of a company, every manager who is on the forefront of a company. You hold yourself out to uphold the values of that company which you promote. So that our leaders must obey a higher moral and legal code of governance for us to follow. Otherwise, no amount of economic progress will stop us from failing as a nation.
We're pleased to be a part of this event that celebrates customer service, an aspect of business that we believe is critical to ultimate survival and success of any venture. Rubis, as a proud member of the PSOJ, applauds the Jamaica Customer Service Association, Jackson, for this very worthwhile initiative. I commend the many local businesses that are being celebrated today for their commitment to excellence in service. It is important that we recognize and promote the need for quality customer service across all business sectors. At Rubis, we look at customer service in a very holistic way, where exceptional engagement can be experienced on multiple levels. We strive for quality customer interaction on the service station forecourts, as well as in our convenience stores. You may have noticed that Rubis is rolling out a new experience in retailing via our Ultra Shops, delivering a clean, well-lit, well-merchandised shopping experience, representative of the Rubis brand promise.
Mr. Mitchell spoke about mindfulness. What a way to begin. Raymond touched on transformational. Now those two things to me already mean something just by the mere fact I'm here today. Every time I sit in an audience such as this, I'm actually humbled. I'm humbled because when I listen to the person they're introducing, I wonder who they're talking about. Because I don't consider myself to be any different to anybody else who is in this room, regardless of what certification, education, and development you have. To me, we're all equal at the foot of the Lord. And so the Private Sector Service Excellence Awards is designed to help organizations improve service quality and to recognize the private sector organizations that consistently, and I'd like to advocate and say again the word consistently, deliver excellent customer service through a clearly defined strategic approach. The PSOJ and the JACSA are firm believers that the success of private sector organizations is dependent on consistent delivery of service excellence. Research has identified a positive correlation between customer service and customer satisfaction and profit and growth. The PSOJ and JACSA encourage companies to continue working towards improving their levels of customer service and to maintain service standards to further the growth and development of their organizations. Now, again, as I sat this morning and I listened to Mr. Mitchell, you really couldn't miss the fact that you're listening to someone, and even at the table that I'm fortunate to be seated at today, I'm surrounded by individuals that when you listen to them, they're all passionate about the reason why we're in this room this morning. So today I have bad news and good news. The bad news is, ladies and gentlemen, customer service is more and more becoming a lost art. Almost like sunken treasure on a ship. The good news is you've all now just become Pirates of the Caribbean, and your job is to find this treasure and restore it to its original position, which means excellence has got to be the hallmark of what we do every day. From the simple things to the big things, it has to start somewhere. Service is the rent we pay for being. It is the very purpose of life and not something you do in your spare time. In most Western countries, service accounts for more than 75% of GDP, a share that will continue to increase. It is without a doubt that service is an important competitive advantage for many companies where differentiation is often achieved by service attributes provided. This is why you must find it and make it important in our society.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life. Highlighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life surrounds art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters. Call us at 876-618-2870 or email us at sales@batvja.com. Business Access TV, serious about business.
Sundays at 4:30 p.m. It's all about Home Sweet Home. Get your half-hour dose of the business of real estate, from laws and concepts to reality, building, buying, or renting. Or what about trends in decor or renovations? Home Sweet Home will keep you up to date.
Now, this is the moment that many of us have come here for, in addition to the inductees and to hear Mr. Mitchell and to hear Dr. Brown. These are the award criteria. And I know we've been having a lot of discussions as to how is it that we are going to get service excellence to be embodied and entrenched in organizations and be woven into the very fabric and the DNA of the organization. This is it, folks. So it begins with leadership, strategy, and governance. This is what the organizations have been assessed on. Their customer service standards and customer service charter. The charter is your promise to the customers. The standards, how do you do what you do in order to deliver service excellence all the time. And these must be codified and lived and not be a paper tiger. We have found that the organizations that have people who have been given the responsibility to, one, live service excellence, train others in service excellence, monitor the whole business of service excellence and performance against standards. When you have a cadre of people who live it and monitor it and help people to improve, it is amazing to see the difference it makes in an organization. So the winners are, come on folks, drum roll, drum roll, drum roll, drum roll, drum roll. Yeah. We're going to start first with the category awards. And this year we made a decision to give category awards in the medium and small category and category awards in the large company. We have for leadership and strategy, Massey Gas Products. And in the large company category, Sagicor Group. And for monitoring and measurements in the small medium category, we have Yellow Media Jamaica. We start with the overall winner in the small company category. May I invite Sarifa Insurance Brokers to join us. The large company winner, and that is Victoria Mutual Group. May I invite Miss Jennifer McDonald and Mr. Howard Mitchell to present a special award to Rubis Energy Jamaica for their consistent support in service excellence.
It's always a pleasure to be recognized by the PSOJ and Jamaica Customer Service. You know, I think this award is very timely for us. I mean, we entered in 2015 and 2016, we're also winners. We sat out last year and we came back again this year. So we're very appreciative of being recognized, as I said, from the PSOJ and Jamaica Customer Service Association in terms of what we're doing, not only for external customers, but for our internal customers, which is our team members. From the start, it's Sarifo. Service and technology has always been the forefront of what we do. You know, from the beginning, I told my team members, you know, we cannot see ourselves as a perpetual work in progress. So the last thing you want to do is to remain stagnant. I mean, we're in a dynamic world of technology. Things are changing, you know, every second, and we always have to be ahead of the game in terms of not only how we treat our customers in terms of service, but also technology in how we're delivering our service to our customers.
It's a fulfilling feeling because we have been a member of the PSOJ for a number of years, and anything that we can do to encourage quality, and in this particular case in customer service, is something we fully endorse. It's our lifeblood because, as you know, we are a retail organization. It means that we interact with thousands of customers on a daily basis, and we have to ensure that in our delivery that we're delivering best service at all times.
It is a fantastic feeling. In fact, this is our third time winning. We have won the 3 times we have entered, and it's really just a testament to our work. We value our customers. We believe we exist only because of our customers, and I think this is testament of our work. At GasPro, we believe at the end of the day it's about the customer, and it's because of the customer why we exist. So we really take this as a testament to our service of our customers who go from a 25 kg user in the hills of Clarendon to a big hotel on the North Coast, and we really value and celebrate what we have been able to do, and we are glad to have been recognized by our peers.
This is very important to us. This is really our means of supporting customer service excellence in Jamaica. We recognize that this service excellence event, you know, is a major catalyst. It serves as a catalyst to encourage organizations to put in systems and processes in place to deliver excellent customer service. Because at the end of the day, customer service is a very important pillar in growing your business. And we're all operating in an environment that's in a global environment. And if we are to be competitive as companies in Jamaica, we have to see customer service as an important pillar. So we have been supporting this. It was easy for us really to make the decision to sponsor the awards, and we have been doing this for over 4 years. And we certainly enjoy this partnership with the Jamaica Customer Service Association and PSOJ. We are a proud member of the PSOJ, so we see this as, our contribution to the organization of which we are part.
I think we are getting there. I think we have just completed, we just ended the 3-year medium term, and I know that we're working with the PSOJ as they roll out the next 3. I think what you have seen today is an example of how companies have stepped up to the plate to offer good service, and not just to locally, but to internationally benchmarked standards. That is a part of the competition, the extent to which companies not only follow, but we can see that they are using international best practices. And so I think we have made a significant part of the journey. We are on a significant path. Of course, it needs to be improved because, we spoke about mindfulness, we spoke about happiness, because at the end of the day, you cannot serve others if you are not mindful of them. You cannot serve others if you yourself are not confident and happy in yourself. And so I think that was a running theme this morning. None of the speakers collaborated, but you would have seen that the themes about service excellence, we're doing it to please you, because when you're happy, we're happy, and there are multitudes of effects that come after. They say what's measured gets done. And so you need to set targets, you need to monitor them, you need to train your staff, because especially if you're in a service industry, persons will be different. And so you cannot assume that you have trained them last year and so that is fine. You need continuous training, and you need to constantly review and upgrade your standards. While we're talking today at our table, we said a lot of managers need to find a way to walk around to find out what's happening on the line with your customers, because your managers and directors will tell you what they think you want to know or want to hear. So as a good manager, you need to ensure that the standards you've set, that they are actually being implemented.
Means a lot because it speaks to the very core of why we exist, right? Why the PSOJ exists. PSOJ is representative of the private sector, a majority of the private sector in Jamaica, and representative of the principles and ideals and interests of the private sector. And service excellence is very near and dear to our hearts, so we will support this and we will continue to support it. I would say that in Jamaica we have issues with how we treat each other, generally, and customer service is an aspect of that, okay? We have issues with governance, which is an aspect or includes customer service and customer obligations. So we do have an issue. The issue is not just about customer service. The issue is in how we are mindful of the interests of others.
It's amazing, amazing. Certainly when we came here this morning, we felt like winners coming into the room, just having been nominated. So the fact that we actually received 6 of the 7 awards and the overall award, I mean, it's just an amazing feeling. I don't think that I've quite come to grasp it as yet. We don't really want to give away all our secrets, but suffice it to say that we, about a year, maybe a little over a year ago, we formed a customer service unit, and this really was done in order to give a strategic focus to customer experience across the VM group. So what we had were like, separate entities having their own standards, doing their own thing, and nobody really driving the strategy around service experience. So just over a year ago, I joined VM, about 18 months actually, and one of my mandates, which came from our group CEO, Courtney Campbell, was the establishment of this customer experience function, which we did, recruited somebody to the position, Denise Williams, about a little over a year ago. and we have just been focused on establishing the standards, embedding new standards, monitoring the complaints, implementing a complaints management system. So for us in VM Group, we actually believe that we're just getting started. So to come away this morning with 6 awards, 6 category awards, and the overall award, we believe that that is just encouragement for us to continue on our journey and to really double down on what we're doing, because obviously we are doing something right.
And that's it from us here at the PSOJ President's Forum Service Excellence Awards 2018. I'm Javon Keys for Business Access TV, serious about business.
It's season 12, and Wealth Magazine Business Access is here to keep you business savvy. With an impressive mix of some of Jamaica's most inspiring business moguls, we continue to keep Jamaica informed, empowered, and ready to dominate. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. only on BATV.
You're watching
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access. Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
The Jamaica Stock Exchange wishes to help to develop the social sector. To that end, they have formed the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange, which is a safe, efficient, and transparent platform that aims to promote social projects that build Jamaica and will inure to the benefit of all persons living in the country.
The Jamaica Stock Exchange is a company that encourages and mobilizes capital for the main market. And that is the market that is not the social sector. Now, the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange is really geared towards the social sector to help to solve social problems in the field of health, education, about children, environment. Those are some of the things that we consider social problems. And so it is to mobilize the capital, allow persons who have a desire to invest in a social good, to invest in the social stock exchange. It is designed in 2 parts. In phase 1, where we look at social investment, and phase 2, where we look at social impact investment. Now, in phase 1, really what we are saying is it is donation. An organization will have a social issue and design it into a project or a program and invite Jamaicans or persons within the diaspora or the entire world to fund this program. Now in phase 2, you're going to get a return on investment which is not social. You will be getting shares, natural shares, as you would get if you invested in the Jamaica Stock Exchange. And what you'll get is a return on capital, which is possibly dividend or an appreciation in that share. The Jamaica Social Stock Exchange does more than ask for the funding of these programs, but goes beyond that in terms of monitoring, ensuring that these programs are meeting the targets and the reason for them to have asked for funding in the first place. When we look at this new sector, it is important because holistically, if you do not look on the social sector, you do not improve the other sectors. We want to encourage all businesses in Jamaica to have a corporate social responsibility because it is good for encouraging and the growth and development of businesses.
Just as society has evolved over time, our food system has also evolved into a global system of immense size and complexity. Today, food scientists have assisted in supplying a wide range of scientific knowledge to maintain better food safety, high food quality, high food content, and contributing to healthier people everywhere. This week, we explore the field of food science on Career Moves.
Hi, I'm Dr. Andre Gordon, Managing Director of Technological Solutions Limited and a food scientist. Food science is a multidisciplinary science that deals with everything that has to do with the production, preparation, and delivery of food, all kinds of food, from seafoods, agricultural items, processed foods, beverages, alcoholic drinks, everything. So food science is really the aggregation of all of those areas that has allowed mankind to be able to produce and deliver food to feed the world. Safe and high quality food. Well, because of the wide range of areas, food science is basically structured into food chemistry, food microbiology, food engineering or food processing, sensory sciences, that is how do you measure foods, and nutrition falls under food science, is an area of nutrition that falls under food science as well. But essentially, what a food scientist does depends on which area they have chosen to specialize in. At Technological Solutions Limited, actually, we cover all of the areas. And having come from a developing country and having seen the challenges that we had, I probably chose the unique option of covering a wide variety of the areas. Typically in our business, food scientists choose one particular area and specialize. Now, when you talk about food science, it really is split into food technology and food science. A food technologist is somebody who has studied the area of food science, probably up to the level of getting a first degree and being a practitioner working in the industry. That is a food technologist. A food scientist, like any other scientist, is somebody who would have gone on to graduate studies in either a master's or a PhD. In my case, I have 3 degrees, a first degree, a master's, and a PhD. My PhD is what is in food science with, at the time, a focus on food processing. So it covers all areas of processing. The undergraduate degree was 3 years. My master's I did in 2 years, 2.5 years, and I was fortunate at the time to finish my PhD in 3 years. Graduated with distinction from the University of Guelph. By the time I was finished and everything was wrapped up, I think we did 12 publications from my PhD work. Throughout our entire food industry, you have persons, if we look at baking, there are food scientists who work in the baking industry, but there are those who specialize in baking technology. So they look at how do I get the best out of a baking process. There are those who specialize in product development, those who specialize in food chemistry, so they just work in the chemistry area. Those who specialize in microbiology. There are some that specialize in nutrition. And all of this we're just talking about baking. Now the person who has a specialty in baking may not be able to transfer that necessarily to a brewing industry. like, a Red Stripe or a distillery like a Ray & Nephew, because those require different sets of knowledge, different sets of skills. And this is where a food scientist or an experienced technologist should be able to learn new things and move across industries. In North America, that tends not to be the case. If you're in baking, you stay in baking for all your life. That's how it works. If you're in the brewing or distilling, most people stay like that. Now you're seeing some cross-industry movement, but these tend to be at the scientist level or very experienced technologists who may specialize, for example, in product development. One area is sensory measurement. That is, how do you take a consumer's demand or consumer's need, translate that into technical terms, make that into a product that is going to be successful. It's a very, very difficult thing to do. Something we have done exceptionally well over the years we've been in business. I have a lot of things that I have to do as regards my company's business, which are strictly business oriented, finance, making sure that we have proper planning in place, all of the things that you do when you have to run a company. Some nitty-gritty things like making sure all the bills are paid, that you collect the money, that you create products that your clients want, that you try to keep them updated with what is happening. One of the things that we at TSL are well known for is being at the cutting edge of what is happening in the industry. We have a lot of associates and colleagues overseas. We stay up to date with what is happening and tend to know in advance of trends. We've always been market leaders, which is a benefit, but sometimes it creates tensions, because a lot of the things you are saying and advising people to do, nobody else in the rest of the Caribbean even knows about, and or in Jamaica. And so often you appear to be conflicting with what people are saying locally. You're saying that is not the way to go, that is today and yesterday, but tomorrow they're going to be asking you to do something else. So don't focus on today and yesterday, prepare for tomorrow. This is what we have been doing.
Audits play a key role in verifying proper food safety practices in the food industry. Dr. Gordon weighs in.
We haven't even spoken about auditing. Auditing is an entire area of the food industry, just like financial auditing, where there are myriad different kinds of audits that require different kinds of training. Specialized in, for example, food service audits, or looking at a process audit. How efficient is this process? Looking at a food safety audit or a quality systems audit. And this is just auditing, right? So just in the quality assurance area or the food safety area, there are a myriad of jobs, and this is an exploding area today. The best food scientists really know what they're talking about, and also know what they don't know, and don't hesitate to say, that's not my area of expertise, I don't know.
Business current affairs you can relate to. Frank, credible discussion. On point, dissecting the issues. Offering solutions to Jamaica's challenges. On Point, Thursdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
The Good Life, your trusted source for useful health and wellness information, lifestyle tips for the mind, body, and soul. Tune in Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
It's season 12, and Wealth Magazine Business Access is here to keep you business savvy. With an impressive mix of some of Jamaica's most inspiring business moguls, we continue to keep Jamaica informed, empowered, and ready to dominate. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. only on BATV.
You're watching
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access. Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
food scientist, I don't think I would, cause I don't know much about it. And as far as tasting go, me eat a patty and the next man say, boy, the patty salt, or the patty fresh, or the patty what have you. I just taste like a normal patty to me.
Yeah, because it would have been great, you know, for Rasta and for Jamaica and for the world, you know. Yeah, so I would have definitely consider that, you know.
I didn't do the sciences in school. I'm a business person. I don't know what these food sciences people do, and I'm not about it.
Not many persons you see venturing in that area. To me, it's just boring. The government can hardly find pretty much funds to pay people for popular careers, much as food scientists. So no, I wouldn't venture in that area at all.
Well, personally, no. I like what I do right now, but if other persons find, I mean, everybody has their own calling.
I was going to be a scientist, but this one's so special to me that I would like to put this in my thought.
I'd probably consider being a food scientist, yes, because I love food. I like to play around with food, so yeah. And I mean, I hear there's a lot of money in it, so definitely.
A career of a food scientist? No, because I don't really know anything about it, honestly. That's my point.
Feeding a global population can sometimes create challenges, especially with added factors.
We're having challenges with global warming. So one of the most critical things is going to be food supply. Not just adequacy of food supply, which is a major challenge that is faced in several developing countries, in Asia, in areas of sub-Saharan Africa and elsewhere, but even within developed countries, you have lots of areas where people have issues with food. In Jamaica and the Caribbean, we have serious issues with the percentage of what is produced that actually ends up being consumable. We've had high, what they call post-harvest losses for many years. That really is what drove me into the area of food science. I came to food science through microbiology, to use scientific knowledge from multiple areas to solve problems.
Not many people even like to hear the word science, but Dr. Gordon was quite passionate about pursuing the sciences.
I liked science. First, I wanted to do medicine, like many people. It's probably a little bit different now because there are more options and there are lots of other. But I wanted to do medicine. I was fascinated with that. So I chose a course that would take me there. When I was doing my first degree I did at University of the West Indies, majoring in biochemistry with a minor. I was one of the first group of students to do what was called then Elements of Food Chemistry was the program. So that was the first food-based program that University of the West Indies offered. Having started on that program, I realized the potential between that and biochemistry to address many of the issues that we had, funnily enough at the time, with trade, trying to export into markets and trying to deal with issues of having a lot of losses in the agricultural sector, develop new products and that kind of thing. Those challenges remain today, unfortunately. But that was what really drove me to look at that area. And then by second year or so, I did a couple projects and I realized that I really liked this thing and decided medicine wouldn't be it for me. I wanted to become a food scientist. They had no programs available in the Caribbean. So I chose to do a master's instead, focusing on food microbiology in the area of biochemistry. And during that program, did groundbreaking work. My supervisor at the time is Professor Ahmad, who is now, I think, retired from the university. Had just come to Jamaica. He had no horizon set for him. There was no limitation. And so we were able to do a lot of things that people would say you can't do in developing countries. We started doing work with plasmid isolation, that's isolating the genetic material from bacteria, even before they started in many places in the US and Canada, because he had just come from somewhere where this was being done. So we started doing this in Jamaica and published work on it from in the mid-80s. People are not aware of this. So from that time, I got introduced to really high-level science. But I realized that microbiology alone wouldn't address the issues. I was getting involved in discussions with trade and agriculture and realized that we needed to be able to pull all the skills together to be able to produce the foods that we wanted to feed ourselves and also be able to export. Because it was clear that unless we were able to export, we wouldn't be able to earn our way. This was in the early 80s. At that time, I became aware that Ackes had been banned from the US market. I can be very specific, 1983, I found out about this and thought it would be really useful to Jamaica if I could make a contribution in solving that problem. So I started a master's program, completed it in microbiology, and during that period applied to several universities, including Cornell, that accepted me. And the University of Guelph in Canada, I applied for a Canadian Commonwealth Scholarship. Truth is, I applied to Cornell, was accepted, and I couldn't go. Because I wasn't able, the scholarship, I was able to get a scholarship, but it wasn't able to cover the full cost. The Canadians offered me a scholarship, full scholarship, a Commonwealth scholarship to the University of Guelph or McGill. I chose to go to Guelph, and that's how I ended up doing a PhD at the University of Guelph in food sciences. Turned out to be quite an interesting decision because Guelph is, at the time, they were an up-and-coming, very good university. Now they're one of the top universities in food science, and a lot of the people that made it that way were coming at the time I was there. So we had cutting-edge information right across the spectrum, and I was able not just to focus on processing, which was my main area, but on all of the other areas: nutrition, engineering, processing, chemistry, microbiology, all of the platform areas, sensory measurement. I think I did I was required to do 4 courses. I think I did somewhere about 14 or 16 courses just to make sure, and then short courses in dairy production, in fruit and vegetable processing, meat processing, and so on. So that wide exposure and practical application helped to allow me to create what is today Technological Solutions Limited. Before then, though, I had already developed a product that was actually sold, exported to the Cayman Islands, I understand, by Jamaica Broilers, a pepper trim product. This was 1984, I think. And I had been working with Grace Kennedy in their meat plant before I went to do the PhD. Because I went to work having finished my master's before going on to do the PhD. So I had been working in product development, so I had a very good idea of what was required, and that is important because the practical knowledge helps you to better define what is going to be useful going forward, as against just going straight from school, doing all of the degrees, for which there's a benefit, but quite often you don't understand what is actually required in the working world until you come out.
In pursuit of being the best at anything, there are certain skills that are needed, and we hear from Dr. Gordon the ones required for a food scientist.
Critical amongst all of this is dedication to, lawyers talk about dedication to your craft, and the really good lawyers, you can see, really do the research and prepare. Same is required of a doctor. The food scientist is no different. The best food scientists really know what they're talking about, and also know what they don't know, and don't hesitate to say, that's not my area of expertise, I don't know. I may be able to recommend people who can give you that information. This is very important, because one of the challenges we've had throughout the Caribbean and in science in general is that people think from you're a scientist you know everything. Once you name doctor or you have a PhD, you know everything. That is far from the truth. There are many people with PhDs who have worked hard for their PhDs and they have it. But, it doesn't mean that they know everything. And so what we have to be careful of is we don't become what you call, they say in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. This is something we say all the time. We need to make sure that when we say something, we have done the research and it is factual. So the major characteristic is the ability to, the willingness to work hard, the willingness to be true to knowledge, to research, and be able to think creatively. And also understand that this is not ivory tower science. This is science that has an application. It's going to help somebody to do something. It's a very high demand area. The demographics have changed significantly. When I studied, most of the persons doing this would have come from the developed countries. Now a large number of persons, immigrants and others from developing countries, are the people you see.
Have you seen it? It's BATV Live. Live streams of business news weekdays at 7:30 p.m. Stay on point Thursdays at 8 p.m. with our Business Current Affairs show, and Weekend Business Report Saturdays at 7:30 p.m. Wherever you are. Log on to our Facebook page at Business Access TV or visit our website at batvja.com. Live and at your fingertips. Business Access TV. Serious about business.
They say it takes a village to raise a child, but the world will one day need the leadership of that child. The time you spend with your child matters. It stimulates their minds and shapes the way they act. Talk with your children. Help them to better understand the world around them and to value what is truly precious. Above all, the most valuable gift you can give them is love. Play, talk, teach, love. Take the time. It makes all the difference. A message from the Parenting Helpline and Ad Council Jamaica.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters. Call us at 876-618-2870 or email us at sales@batvja.com. Business Access TV, serious about business.
In Jamaica, there is still a gap to be filled in our universities if one wants to become a food scientist, as most courses needed aren't offered.
So the University of the West Indies in particular has responded and is trying to offer some of the programs. The truth of the matter is, though, that they have had to bring people in from overseas to help lecture on that program, largely because the skills are so specialized and we don't have the people here. So if you're going to address a lot of those gaps, most likely you're going to have to go overseas to get the knowledge at the master's and the PhD level, which you need if you're really going to make a difference, in the future. It is an area in which, particularly in the United States, Canada, the European Union, and the developed countries, they actually can't get enough graduates. It's a very high demand area. The demographics have changed significantly. When I studied, most of the persons doing this would have come from the developed countries. Now a large number of persons, immigrants and others from developing countries, are the people you see. Lots of people from Latin America, lots of people from Asia are amongst the both now professors and the attendees. So job security, particularly in North America, is good. Even in the Caribbean, I expect in the next 5 to 10 years, even as we speak now, there are companies looking for persons with the expertise.
If you're considering a change in career or looking to study food science, you may just be at an advantage.
Absolutely, there is a market. We need more people with more specialized skills. Remember, I mentioned the specialized areas. We don't have enough microbiologists. We don't have very many food engineers. We don't have very many people who specialize in the immunological side of food. We don't have very many people who specialize in food chemistry, in enzymology, plant diseases, diseases caused by insects. We do have people, but not enough. And in many cases, they're not out there working in an applied setting, right? Certainly not in the private sector. And where you're going is if you're going to set up a big operation, you need those skills. So either you're going to bring them in from overseas or somebody here is going to be able to offer them. Job outlook is very good. It varies. A food scientist, I suppose, entry level in the US, I can talk about the US, probably earned somewhere between 40 to 50,000 US dollars, which is, if you know the US salary scales, that's that's fairly significant. A food scientist with 5 years experience would probably be earning somewhere around 70, 80,000 US to, depending on what they're doing, 100, somewhere there, it depends. Food scientists at the top of the scale earn 200,000, 180, 200, 250,000 as vice president of research or whatever it is. So it's food scientists at the top of their business make more money than doctors in the US, on average, the average doctor. It's a very high skilled area with high demand. So it is a good profession to look at if you're looking to work overseas. Unfortunately, in the Caribbean, we don't value the skills the same.
Dr. Gordon leaves us with some tips on getting ahead in the field.
You have to be dedicated. You have to be dedicated. You have to be willing to work really hard. So if you do it right, within 5 to 7 years, you can be very successful. But you have to be willing to work hard. You have to be dedicated to excellence. You have to understand what you know and what you don't know and be honest about it. And you have to deliver, consistently deliver at the highest level. If you're willing to do that, you can be extremely successful in this field because the demand is there.
Every day you wake up, you have another opportunity to make this little island better, safer, a place where we all can be proud to call home. It's time we all recognize that every little thing we do has an impact on the Jamaica we live in now and the country we're leaving for our children. So promise me this, promise yourself this: no more will we tolerate criminals, even if it's our relatives. Tell them they're doing something wrong. Tell them to stop. Tell them no more robbing our children of the Jamaica they deserve. Tell them no more crime.
Caring Hands Season 3 continues to effect change in a changing environment.
Many of us were raised by grandmothers, right? So, we know the wisdom that these people have.
Going beyond business.
The little leaders of today are our leaders of tomorrow. And with the proper education, we'll have very good leadership coming from that.
That's Season 3 of Caring Hands, creating change and shaping lives, every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life, highlighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life turns art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV. Dental Place Cosmetic Spa to talk to Dr. Robinson about oral piercings and the growing trend of fashionable braces. Dr. Robinson, thank you for having us.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
So talk to us about the Dental Place Cosmetic Spa. How did you get started?
I graduated at the University of Virginia 12 years ago. My practice started in Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 10 years ago. I decided to expand that practice in this facility, so we've been here for about 2 years. I'm also an adjunct lecturer at the University of Technology. We graduated our first set of dentists here on this island last year, so we're excited about that. So being here at the office, I have an opportunity to introduce to my patients what I do cosmetically in Florida here. So I'm really excited that you invited me to speak to you about oral piercings, and especially the new trend in fashion braces, which are clearly not cosmetic.
All right, so you don't do piercings here,
No.
but I'm sure you have a whole heap of knowledge on piercings.
Yes, I do. I can speak on the impact of oral piercings on your oral health, but it's not something that we advocate or encourage.
Why shouldn't I get an oral piercing? I mean, everyone has them. It seems fashionable. Why not?
My job is to educate you on the impact on your overall health. The decision you make is purely yours. Oral piercings are, it's a body art, you know. It's an expression of one's individuality. Understandably so, it goes back to centuries, you know, where you find preserved bodies with oral piercings. It was a sign of ownership during times of slavery. So oral piercing has gone back for centuries. I don't see it going anywhere. Persons will continue to do it. However, without a basis, most of the persons that I speak to, it's done more because it's an expression of who they are, as opposed to just doing it because it's cool. Patients who are wearing tongue bars or persons that I know with it, they speak of increased sexual pleasures. To each his own, and it's a personal thing for them. So that's as much as I can say about that outside of an individual expressing themselves through body art. What we find with oral piercings is amongst younger persons, it is seen as a harmless way to express themselves. It's not seen as permanent as a tattoo or piercing of the ear. Because inside the mouth, especially the tongue, it is so highly vascularized. The minute you remove the tongue bar, it heals. So they see it as a way to get a piercing, mommy and daddy won't know about it, or my employer doesn't know about it. It's not even an issue of, in the workplace, it being known. It impedes your speech, it affects swallowing, and you know, there are a range of risk factors that goes with having oral jewelers in your mouth. And those would be, for example, at the time when the piercing is done, the concern is for prolonged bleeding, obviously because your mouth is highly vascularized, meaning there are lots of blood vessels in that area. Infections, pain, and swelling. So once you're healed, there's still concern, right? Concerns would be cracking your teeth. The tongue actually seems to be the most common place for oral piercings. And second to that would be the lips. So here is fracturing of the teeth, receding gums, buildup of plaques in the mouth, and we know that the buildup of plaques will lead to gums being infected, which leads to bone loss and which leads to loss of teeth. Persons who are doing this, youthful persons, are not aware of the risk factors. So I find it important to communicate what I can on risk and educate. I don't think that we are as informed as a public as to the consequences to some of these decisions that we are making. And so the tendency is to do it for fashion, and dentistry by itself is very costly. I know that because I have patients who struggle to do basic stuff, such as regular cleanings and fillings. So it disturbs me when out of fashion you do piercings and then you end up down a road or path where you lose your teeth, and it's depressing.
When we return, we delve a little more into the effects of oral piercing. And still to come, what are fashion braces?
It's season 12, and Wealth Magazine Business Access is here to keep you business savvy. With an impressive mix of some of Jamaica's most inspiring business moguls, we continue to keep Jamaica informed, empowered, and ready to dominate. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. only on BATV.
You're watching
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters. Call us at 876-618-2870 or email us at sales@batvja.com. Business Access TV, serious about business.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bill? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up our Ready TV box at authorized stores for $4,500. Hook it up to your TV set, then top it up with Ready Credit for 1, 7, or 30 days. Buy now and get $1,000 free Ready Credit and start watching your favorite shows. Pick it up, hook it up, top it up. Ready TV. Prepaid cable TV when you're ready. Now serving Kingston and St. Catherine. Limited time offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.
Welcome back to The Good Life. This week we are discussing the effects of oral piercings and fashion braces with Dr. Sharon Robinson from the Dental Place Cosmetic Spa.
So you've mentioned tongue piercings and lip piercings, but I know a lot of people are getting their cheeks pierced. Are these considered oral piercings, and are they as harmful as a tongue piercing or a lip piercing?
Yes, cheek piercing is also considered oral piercing because it extends from the inside of the mouth to the outside. It does carry equal risks as the tongue ring or bar and the lip jewelry.
Dr. Robinson says most persons only focus on the look of piercings after it is done. However, she emphasizes a major precaution that should help persons to at least stop and make the best decision.
Basically, from the onset, walking into a facility that's not regulated, we don't know how the instruments being used are being sterilized, if at all. So there are concerns for cross-contamination. The National Institute of Health has identified oral piercings as a risk factor in transmitting some hepatitis viruses. There is the concern for endocarditis. Contaminated instruments or health concerns that you would have could create a situation where bacteria in your mouth now has the opportunity to enter your bloodstream, Once it's there, these bacteria can attach themselves to heart vessels. That's called endocarditis, and that can be a very serious complication. There is just too much, when a patient comes in to see the dentist, we go through a medical history for a reason. We don't know that these things are being done in these facilities because they're patients who'd say they're diabetic or they have some underlying medical problems that are not shared, and the persons who are doing the piercings are not trained to handle that. So in terms of maintenance, there's no maintenance once you've had your piercing. There's no follow-up. So you still have to get your dentist to help to manage what's happening.
I know you don't advocate getting oral piercings, but let's just say I'm all about that life and I'm gonna get one. What advice are you gonna give those people that are still gonna go out and get an oral piercing? What are some things that I need to keep in mind?
Get with your dentist, get with the dental hygienist, stay on top of your checkups. You will be informed on the safety precautions that should be in place. You will receive the professional help that you need for your oral care, for hygiene. And it's very important to minimize the consequences and the risk factors that are there. So if you already have it, hey, that's fine. We're here. Do not stay away. Let us help you to manage that. I can't speak of what's going on in these facilities, if the things are being cleaned or not. And there's just too much. I have a lot of respect for things that I cannot see, bacteria and viruses. So it's so important for me to inform the public that they have a responsibility for their own health, and the choices that they make will have consequences. If they're not properly informed, there will be dire consequences and more costly as well.
Let's say I put in a tongue ring and it chips a tooth and I have to come in and get that repaired. How much money am I looking at for that?
That's a good question. First, we have to, how big a chip is it? It could go from just a filling to having a root canal and a crown. So if it's a small chip, we may be able to just fill the tooth to restore it. If it's a huge chip, which has now involved the canal, we have to remove the nerves, which is a root canal, and we have to restore the tooth with a crown. That gets very costly. So there it is, an inexpensive, fashionable decision to a decision here. From the top of my head, you'd be looking at about $180,000 to replace or to restore that on the high scale if you're doing a root canal and a crown. Filling anywhere from about $8,000 to $20,000 Jamaican dollars.
Underlying problems without symptoms is usually the reason most oral piercing infections get out of control. Dr. Robinson re-emphasizes the importance of consulting with a dentist.
The mouth, in its healthiest form, is loaded with bacteria, in its healthiest form. So imagine in a case where you're not getting the regular maintenance that you need. For persons who have lots of cavities or abscess teeth, or their gums are unhealthy from having a lot of buildup on their teeth, the level of bacteria in your mouth is that much more. So therefore, with your mouth loaded with bacteria, now you're at higher risk for infections. For persons with oral piercings, swelling around the areas or the area where the piercing is, if there is any redness, pain, you should get it attended to, because it could be a sign that there is something else going on. That's usually the first sign of an infection, and you don't want it to try to fix it on your own. So a cheek jewelry can now wreak havoc because it creates an environment for bacteria to not just adhere to the metal itself, and we'll talk about that later. These metals provide a safe haven for them to adhere to and create further problems. So you don't want to do that. So get the help that you need when you start seeing that something isn't right, and either remove it, heal, put it back, or, I will say just take it out or don't pierce it all. But if it's there and you have to, we'd have to take measures to remove it, get you healed, and if you have to and choose to do it again, it's up to you.
We've just talked to Dr. Sharon Robinson about oral piercings, but there's more. We'll be right back.
DamnGoodBeats.com. Have you seen it? It's BATV Live. Live streams of business news weekdays at 7:30 p.m. Stay on point Thursdays at 8 p.m. with our Business Current Affairs show, and Weekend Business Report Saturdays at 7:30 p.m. wherever you are. Log on to our Facebook page at Business Access TV or visit our website at batvja.com. Live and at your fingertips. Business Access TV. Serious about business.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life, highlighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life's rooms art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
Career Moves has always explored interesting careers, highlighting all you may not have known about them. This season is no different.
Coming back to Jamaica, everyone's like, fizzy what? Fizzy who?
When you find a bright boy or girl in the class and people say, what are you going to be? The parents will say, you have to go be a doctor, you have to go be a lawyer. Nobody says you have to go be a politician.
Let me see your hands!
Tune in Tuesdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Dr. Sharon Robinson, and we've covered a lot of ground talking about oral piercings, but now it's time to discuss fashionable braces. What are they and who's getting them? So what are braces to begin with?
Braces are devices used in dentistry by orthodontists who are specialists in our field. They are used to align and straighten teeth as it relates to your bite, and of course improve your overall oral health as it relates to that. The decision on the kind of braces that an individual will have will be based on an analysis that is performed by the orthodontist. So there could be metal and ceramic, there could be all metal, there could be all ceramic, there could be just Invisalign that is done.
Dr. Robinson, we've established what braces are. Let's talk about fashionable braces. What are fashionable braces and why are they considered fashionable?
Fashionable braces as the public perceives it. I must say this growing trend, I find it somewhat disturbing for different reasons. Just similar to oral piercing, that one would subject themselves to receiving treatment by persons who do not have knowledge or proper training to place these devices. So there is talk of this trend of persons who are receiving braces on their teeth by someone who is not a dentist, not trained in the field. Are these things sterilized? Where do they come from? Is there maintenance? I don't know what is being done. The little I know of this trend at this point is the brackets are on the teeth, but not engaged. Meaning, when brackets are placed on the teeth, there are wires that act as tracks for forces to be applied over time so that teeth can be shifted. All right? Continuous force over time. What I'm learning off this practice is that part of it is not happening. So the brackets are just on the teeth with pretty bands, and patients are loving that. Here's a problem with that. By itself, just having these brackets on creates an environment where you're at higher risk for cavities, a higher risk for poor gum health. The adherence of bacteria to these metals, we talked about that with oral jewelry. You see that with brackets. It's more challenging for those who are wearing braces to clean it. And any persons you know, have you worn braces before? There tend to be a lot more buildup on these braces because they're metals or ceramics. So more cleaning has to be done. The longer these buildups are on, you run the risk of getting cavities and gum problems. It's more costly to fix these problems than to go to someone who's not trained to do it in the first place in the name of fashion. I've had to remove devices such as these from persons who would just wear it, but they can't afford anything else. What happens? You remove these brackets, there are cavities on teeth. The gums are in poor health because of the inflammatory process that starts in the mouth. And teeth will easily shift because there's no wire that's aligning it. So these are just brackets that are being put in your mouth. I don't know what it's made of. I don't know where they come from. But I find it disturbing that persons are doing that. And dentistry is very costly.
What I'm trying to understand is when they do get these fashionable braces, the intention was to straighten the teeth to fix an issue, or was the intention to make it appear that they had braces?
There are different reasons why we seek out cosmetic services.
Okay, so
there are those who need it, and there are those who just want to enhance, just a little extra. On the outside, when someone wears braces, you see a beautiful smile after. Teeth are straight, perfect. There are those patients who cannot chew properly. There are those patients who have other problems that are more severe who are required to get braces for that reason. It has nothing to do with cosmetics. The benefit of cosmetics is like the bonus, all right? So for those persons, it's almost like an insult because people want the end result, but the proper planning does not go in place for that to happen. As dentists or any medical clinician, if we are attempting to do a cosmetic procedure on a patient, the first order of business is to begin with the end in mind. Hence, time is spent during the treatment planning process, understanding why the patient is doing it, what their needs are, and all that plays a vital role. This fashion trend, I am not sure what is driving that, except to say there are persons who just like the look of braces, because if you are not trained to use these devices, you cannot straighten teeth. You can't. It is such a technical process. These orthodontists are trained for at least 3 years after receiving their dental degrees and license. I find it disturbing that persons in the public will do that. Now, my only answer to the reason is lack of information, or they're just not aware. I do not know the cost for fashion braces. I just know that I hear numbers that of it being anywhere from less than $20,000 to maybe $50,000. That's yeah. So I don't know what it's made of. I don't know how they get it. You have to have a dental license to procure some of these items that are used in dentistry. So I don't know where they're coming from or what it's made of, and it concerns me because I don't know how it's being done, and the persons who are getting it, in the end, it's going to cost them more. Cost, for example, you lose your teeth. Gee, there's a lot of value in that because now your options would be dental implants. Can you afford that? $3,000 per tooth, approximately, US. Or wearing partials and dentures. You don't want to wear partials and dentures after making a choice like that because it's my patients who are wearing dentures, they don't like them. But they have to wear it for function so they can chew properly. But the desire is there at some point, I'm getting out of these things. So yes, they need to not do it. Keep your teeth the way they are. It's too costly to put these braces on to end up losing value of what you have now because you can't afford implants and getting dentures. Even though it may be affordable to get dentures, the quality of life is different. Patients who wear dentures will tell you kissing is not the same. Food does not taste the same because these plates cover taste buds, you know. So it's not a pleasant thing, you know. I get to baby my patients and take them through the process of it, but it's not something you want to desire.
Thank you, Dr. Robinson. I'm sure our viewers have learned a whole lot in regards to oral piercings and fashionable braces.
You're welcome. It's been my pleasure.
All right, so there you have it, guys. It's costly to keep up with these beauty trends. Maybe you should think twice before getting an oral piercing and before putting in fashionable braces. I've been your host of The Good Life, Amita Prasad Webb, and check us out next week.
There's only one recommendation for funding that is ever going to come from me, and that is funding from a bank.
This is the cost to build, and it includes every nail and screw for the building.
Our motto is building communities, building a nation.
Get in the know with the world of real estate with Business Access TV's Home Sweet Home, Sundays at 4:30 p.m.